What people say about China, I think the biggest, it's not, I wouldn't call it misconception, but there is no democracy. And like, that's what people argue about. I talked to some foreigners living in China that, there is probably no democracy or lack of democracy, but there is some democracy on a lower level, like the city-state level and stuff. And also because they done so well economically for the last 20 years, people don't want to mess with this democracy. We're happy how things work here and we don't want to spoil it. What's your takes? What's your thoughts on it?
I feel like I have a lot of freedoms here that I wouldn't have in other countries.
Like what?
Like, for example, my wife, she can walk home in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. after having a few drinks with her friends in the middle of the city and be completely 100% safe.
Yeah.
And I have the freedom to go to bed and not worry about her safety.
Yeah.
Because it's extremely safe here. And there's, the amount of crime is so low. This gives you certain freedoms. Whereas, maybe in a place like London, you wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
Especially in certain parts. So that's definitely something that you kind of take for granted when you're here. And when you go back, you kind of think, wow, oh my God, how good did I have it? So I guess freedom can be viewed in a few different ways. In terms of democracy, I think as we were saying, as in America or in the UK, people are basically fighting for the next election. How do I stay in power? Instead of developing sort of like a long-term plan. In cities like Shenzhen, it's not very representative of the rest of China. The rest of China, it's not like this. This is China's future. It's kind of peering deep into China's future. And so what's happening in the rest of China is very difficult to kind of explain unless you actually go and sort of see it for yourself.
Yeah.
And it's very different.
It's a huge country.
It's a huge country.
Yeah.
It's enormous. It's like 8 countries put together.
Yeah.
There's such different cultures from different provinces. And so, it's very difficult to bundle Chinese people all together.
Yeah.
Because they don't really share a lot of they share similar values, but they don't necessarily share similar opinions about everything. And it's very different. And so I guess democratically, from a thought perspective, it's very different. Like people in different provinces think very differently to people in other provinces. And you kind of saw that coming out during the COVID pandemic. Different provinces, basically,
different lockdowns.
They took a different approach to how to deal with it. For example, Shenzhen, it was like lockdown, everyone inside. Whereas Guangzhou, just literally 100 kilometers away, they were like, lockdown, what are you talking about? We're not locking down.
I think that what probably people don't get about China in the West, they think about China as like one unified country, like same people, super controlled, everybody just obey, but it's so diverse and people don't realize it.
Absolutely, super diverse, different cultures within the country, 100%. I mean, just look at Shenzhen, for example. People here, the mindset is completely different to people in, let's say, Sichuan or Chengdu. I remember people in Chengdu are very laid back, very relaxed. They don't work hard. Well, I mean, I think they work hard, but they don't work like they do in Shenzhen. And when you go on holiday to places like Chengdu or Chongqing, it's a completely different China. And and the people there are very, they have different kind of values, and same in so many other provinces as well.
If you had a chance to change something or to implement something that China is doing here in Britain, what would be your, if you consulted the government, let's say, or someone who make decisions in Britain, what would be your advice?
Make it easy and cheap for people to start companies and start producing. The thing that China's done extremely well as well is they've made energy incredibly cheap. Energy we run a factory and we have a production line, and
Yeah.
you know, the amount of energy that it costs for us to run our production line is like a tenth of what it would cost in the UK. And so if you reduce the cost of energy, then you increase production, because people, you know, energy equals output in so many ways. Unfortunately, the UK are kind of going in an opposite direction. They don't want to produce nuclear power plants. They don't want to drill for oil. They don't want to, I mean, they are trying to replace all of that with solar and wind, but unfortunately those are two very variable and I don't think sustainable. And so I think the UK really need to reassess their approach to energy. And then also, I think they need to reassess their approach to helping people start production businesses. This is the complex that I live in. And this is the golf course that I am not allowed to play in.
Why? The membership fee?
It's very expensive.
Yeah. How much is it? You know?
Oh, the joining fee will be something like, I don't know, 600K.
Which is?
Let's say like 100K US.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't even know if that's true, but
but it could be true. In Singapore,
yeah.
I think the most expensive golf like membership costs you like few $100,000 to join.
Exactly. It's just a joining fee. And it might not even be forever. It's like only for 10 years or something. It's like it's like a 10-year joining fee.
Yeah.
So that's the same as this. You can go to the driving range, which is fun though. I go to the driving range, and,
nice.
which is just down there.
Nice, nice.
But funnily enough, this is leased from the government, and in 10 years' time, they're about to get rid of the contract. And so I think they're going to turn half of this golf course into a public park, which will then kind of...
Yeah.
Because it is a bit strange. I mean...
Because it's a huge piece of land.
Huge piece of land.
People not allowed to
and it's just, you know, it's the rich and wealthy who get to use it. And it's right in the middle, and you can see all of this residential around. And, yeah.